this the Red Barn?
Hello, barn burners, barn dwellers. Good to have you with us on Red Barn Radio. I'm Brad Becker. This is season 20 of Red Barn Radio, and tonight we welcome you to show number 749. I almost tripped on that number. Adam Chaffins, an independent singer-songwriter who is a product of culturally rich Eastern Kentucky, has always been about music. He started early in middle school, fronting and playing bass in a band. His talent was met with scholarship opportunities and a resulting music degree. After a move to Tennessee, he began his Nashville career as an in-demand session musician, alternating that with a life on the road as a member of various bands, including several years with the revolutionary bluegrass band Town Mountain, who's also been here on Red Barn Stage. Welcome to the Red Barn Stage, now, Adam Chaffins.
Sometimes through late night, I'll close my eyes and I'll think of her. When the smoke bus sits in before the pre-morning sin, I'll think of her. Whoa, her. It's the taking I can't fake, the giving I won't make. But I'll hate thee all alone, oh, here alone. Hopelessly I'll fall before I think to stall. I'll think of her, oh, her. There's a cold bed in a room, sheets still breathing her perfume, where I'll think of her. And each tip back of the glass brings illusions of the past, where I'll think of her. Oh, her. It's the hope that makes me numb, and the doubt wants to come, but I know I'll never learn, oh, what's more to learn. Hopelessly I'll stand, build this wall up all by hand, and I'll think of her, oh, her. Hope that makes me numb, and the down of her, oh, her.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
Adam Chaffins has roots buried deep in country music soil, but what the world hears today is Chaffins' new lane of music, a reflection of him, both past and present, that weaves together his personal and musical experiences to create a sound and mood that's unique and also comfortably familiar. His 2020 debut album, Some Things Won't Last, which you've got to hear, features a range from fuzz-toned, drum-driven rockers to ballads laced with symphonic swells. It lays bare the many layers of Adam in his music. Adam is joined on the Red Barn stage tonight by the talented Cy Winstanley on guitar and vocals. Welcome Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley to Red Barn Radio.
Thank you all for having us, man. That first song was one called Her, and we're going to play another one off of Some Things Won't Last. This is no big deal. find something else to do. You live a life you never outgrew. I trust that you'll find that one of your dreams. But dinner alone's not as bad as it seems. And hey, no big deal. I hope the rest of your life is a thrill. And no, I won't complain. It's not you're more, but you're more of the same. And hey, no big deal. I thought you were more, but you're more of the same. I thought you were more, but you're more of the same. The same, the same. Hey, thank you all so much. Man, it's so fun to be here. I love any time I can get back to Kentucky, especially Lexington. Lots of memories walking around downtown here. And man, it's so good to be back. Thank you all for having us here. Sal, you want to kick off this next one? This one's called Doorway. Till this far I had a pretty good lead. Always reaching with the left hand while the right held right on me. You were always on the undecided, never just happy to find. Spinning around inside a state of hesitation, death to the mate of mine. Need to ask the old days. They told me plenty times. A pretty face with a bad case, a word never meant to rhyme. And everybody's asking what's the problem, as if they need to approve. Now it's feeling like a way your shadow, the light never moved. See you messing in the doorway, sneaking in the doorway, sneaking on me. See you hiding in the doorway, messing in the doorway, messing with me. Tell me how this thing got going. Everything after goodbye. You seem to pride yourself in knowing, but I know just how you lie. I'd like to think you got another thing coming, but I'm here asking for more. Help me someone to the nearest window. Somebody's ripped out the floor. See you messing in the doorway, sneaking in the doorway, sneaking on me. See you hiding in the doorway, messing in the doorway, messing with me. I wish I was running. Wish I was running. Wish I could be running. Wish I could be running. I wish I could stay running away. Messing in the doorway, sneaking in the doorway, sneaking on me. See you hiding in the doorway, messing in the doorway, messing with me. I see you I'd take earthquakes of heartache, drink a sea of total sorrow, if it grant me a solution to find time that I could borrow. Thought I knew what I was doing, thought I fought the better fight. Suppose it's too late to tell you, never mind, I wasn't right. I'd always go into tomorrow thinking how I did it yesterday wouldn't let you even try to get to know me that well. Anyway, I'd struggle with the words, with a bottle I'd stay hid through the worst of me in front of you like some spoiled little kid. If I could take it all back, if I could take it all back. When you were crying in the kitchen with your head between your knees, and I stood there in silence like a storm before the breeze. No trust to confide, and my guilt on display like a hard northern winter, dark barred out the light of day. And I said a lot of things, if I only cared what they would mean. Tried to act like they were empty, like a crime without a scene. All the lies that I was hiding, and the best that I would take. Simple honesty is something that I honestly can't make. If I could take it all back, if I could take it all back. I'd take earthquakes of heartache, drink a sea of total sorrow, if at least I would have left you the pride I watched you swallow. If there's one thing I'm sure of, the last thought to prove right, your life's better living, not including my sight. If I could take it all back, if I could take it all back, if I could just take it back, if I could take it all back. Switch it over here. That was one called Take It All Back from Some Things Won't Last. Suppose in the last year and however long it's been, vortex of the world we've all been in, it's left lots of time, less time to travel and meet people and play shows, but a lot of time to work on new music, which has been a blessing. And hopefully. And we're going to play a brand new song, man. This is a big premiere of this tune. I wrote it with a fella named Adam Wright. And this is, it came from a few different places, but one particularly back in June of this year. I had the privilege to hike Mount Yale, which is out in around Buena Vista, Colorado. And it's like a 14,000 peak summit, and I'd never been that high in my life without trying or not. There's something about doing that, you know, going through that experience and looking up at something that doesn't seem to go away. and a lot of this song was inspired by that adventure. Technical problem. All right. 2, 3, 4. All I know is that one of these days I'm gonna get what's mine. The storm rolling in on the edge of town, a little bit at a time. I'll get a little bit at a time. That mountain wasn't ever coming down to me. I had to get up and climb. Only one way to the top of that thing, a little bit at a time. I'll get a little bit at a time. Yeah, some folks, they don't even want a piece if they can't have a whole damn pie. For me, I'm fine getting all I need, a little bit at a time. I get a little bit at a time. Your kind of love is strong enough to make a man lose his mind. Come on, baby, go and drive me crazy, a little bit at a time. Oh yeah, a little bit at a time. Yeah, some folks, they don't even want a piece if they can't have a whole damn pie. For me, I'm fine getting all I need, a little bit at a time. I'll get a little bit at a time. Sitting on a rock on top of this hill, higher than a Georgia pine, watching that Tennessee sun go down, a little bit at a time. Oh, a little bit at a time. Oh, a little bit at a time. Oh, yeah, a little bit at a time. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Welcome, folks, to Red Barn Radio. Great to have you here with us. Our guest this evening is Adam Chaffins. Adam's music is making a big hit down where he's from and all around and about. NPR has given him some great accolades, and so has Billboard. His album, Some Things Won't Last, I think was released in 2020 or 20?
February 2020.
Oh,
yes.
all right.
Yeah.
Hasn't been out that long.
No.
Not in
Relatively.
Right. Not in today's world. It seems like it just happened, right?
Yeah, right.
We met Adam when you were here last with your wife Britt.
Yeah.
Your now wife. She wasn't your
I've
wife
got
then.
some more hardware on
Nice.
this trip than
Well,
I did on the last one.
Well, congratulations
Thank
to
you
you
all.
all. We
Thank you
did
so
we
much,
did hear
man.
about that, and I think at the time it was something that was being discussed.
We were planning it, I think.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think you did some of the planning right here on the
I
stage.
think maybe
we
so.
helped you make some
I'd
of your
check
choices.
the tape.
So it's great to have you back.
It's great to be here, man. Thanks for hitting me up, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, and Cy Winstanley is here playing the lead guitar. Cy, nice to meet you, and nice to have you on the program as well.
Very nice to be had.
All right, all right. Hey, I thought maybe, Adam, we could begin by having you talk a little bit about sort of your formal education in music.
Yeah.
Would you mind going back to that? Maybe back to your teen years and taking it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I was privileged. I grew up in Louisa, Kentucky, and there's a lot of great pickers and singers from around those parts and songwriters.
What county is
It's
Louisa
Lawrence
in?
County.
Lawrence County.
yeah.
And for folks who aren't familiar with, who are as unfamiliar with the county's locations as I am, tell us where that is in the
It's
state.
like it's as far east as you can really go in the state. It's on the West Virginia border, like downtown
all right.
Louisa is across the Leviza Fork and the Big Sandy River, and then you're in Fort Gay, West Virginia, just a hip and a scop. And then Ironton's just about Ohio. The Ohio state line is not too far down the way either. So it's really the tri-state kind of region.
Ashland being sort of the big city for you.
It's where you go to Walmart, is in Ashland. Of course, they have one in Louisa.
I
now,
would
but
think
we won't
so,
talk
yeah.
about that. So yeah, growing up there was just a lot of people playing and a lot of different things happening, and I was really fortunate to have lots of mentors. Either players in church that I went to who were like, "Hey, you should be in this thing, or you should do this," and really there's just a lot of folks who and teachers in school, music teachers, who just really I was fortunate that they took kind of an interest in me and my hopes and aspirations to do this thing that I do now.
How were those hopes and aspirations expressing themselves when you were like in middle and high school?
There were lots of daydreams. There were lots of notes home like, "Hey, tell your kid to pay attention to math." There's lots of that kind of stuff. So it was mostly that. And I just, had little bands since I was like 12 years old, playing bass in little bands. And there was a lot of folks playing and getting at it around those times. And that kind of led to me, growing up there, it was like, hey, you're going to go to college. My dad was a coal miner and my mom was a social worker, and they were both like, you're going to go to school, and hopefully you can get some scholarships to pay for it. And I was lucky for that. And I kind of did some time at Bellarmine University in Louisville.
Sure.
And kind of started out singing classical music, which I wasn't really as hip to be quite honest.
And so they have a program there, and
They do,
sort of,
yeah.
and opera or
yeah.
pre-opera?
Pre-opera, whatever that is.
Uh-huh.
Forever pre-opera. And then I started playing with a jazz piano player. I was taking lessons from him who taught there, a guy named Todd Hildreth. I don't know if you know. He's the cat in Louisville. But it was taking those lessons with him and him having me play electric bass in some ensembles that was like, I think I want to, expand my harmonic horizons in music. And somehow that led to me transferring to Morehead State University, which was the last place on earth I thought I'd ever end up at a high school. And it just so happened and I was so lucky to get to go there and to have a great, education with so many incredible players, and also getting to do another, Appalachian kind of bluegrass folk music through the traditional center there, working with Jesse Wells primarily.
Sure.
And Jesse was just, such an inspiration to me. I mean, I heard Jesse took me to his office and played John Hartford's Aereo playing for me when I was like a junior in college, and I remember every moment of that sitting at.
So
his
he
desk.
just said, "Stop everything."
Yeah,
we have to listen to
I remember
this
it was literally we were downstairs and he was like, like John Hartford, and I was like, "Who's John Hartford?" He's like, "Let's go upstairs," and then that there's lots of instances like that there, and I always wanted to live in Nashville, and
So can I interrupt you for a
Yeah,
second?
go ahead.
So so it sounded to me like at Bellarmine you went there for classical, but then you also sort of you were introduced to jazz.
Yeah.
As a form, and then how is it that you would go to a school at that point in time when you were so sort of enwrapped with jazz? Why would you go to a traditional music program?
Who knows what
Yeah.
happened? I like it all, man. Like it's hard for me to put my thumb on one thing stylistically that I want to listen to all the time or try to play all the time. But definitely country music, you know, my earliest years, you know, I used to go to flea markets. My dad would sell at flea markets, and he'd take me, and there'd always be someone selling country cassette tapes. You know, so
Yeah.
I remember buying every classic early 90s, late 80s country singer, and that's what I went to sleep to my whole life. You know, as a kid growing up, it was like a cassette player by the bed, you know, listening to John Anderson and Dwight Yoakam and people like that, and Keith Whitley. And so that was my earliest, you know, that was always just the initial foundation of everything was like country music. And I guess this urge to expand that genre and that format, what led to me wanting to learn all these other types of Western music, as it were, and to learn as much as I could about it, to bring it back to that music, the parts that I think helped it or became or are what I am as an artist, I suppose.
Is that the end of the formal education story, or is there more? Is there another
Well, I
school
think
in there?
I did
somewhere?
go. I transferred. I went to grad school at MTSU, and
Yep.
that's how I got to Nashville. And I was just so burnt on school, man. I just didn't want to be there, and
Were you not learning anything there?
I wasn't, to be honest.
because you just weren't receptive.
Well, I
at that
didn't
point.
care as much about you know being that anymore. I was just ready. I moved to town and I started gigging. You know, I was like getting on tours, and it was just like I don't want to do this anymore. So I quickly evacuated that situation, and man, I started touring, and that was really it. That's like, you know, I started hanging out at this bar called the Five Spot in Nashville that had this epic old-time bluegrass jam on Wednesdays, and I can kind of trace my whole career to go into that hang and meeting people, and you know.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, was there a particular gig or set of gigs that
It was that,
sort of
man.
launched?
It was that. I remember, you know, I got to jam with everybody. Like Jack Pearson's a big guitar player, was like playing with him weekly, and David Greer and Chris
Oh, wow.
Steele would like roll in a lot when he was in town, and
Oh, yeah, he's
you
pretty
know,
good.
all those guys from that band. So like, it was like, you know, Brian Sutton was there a lot, like those kind of players who were, you know.
Yeah.
Just heavy dudes, and
Like
it
the
was.
best.
And East Nashville wasn't as developed as it is, you know, all these decades change later. So it was more chill and homey, and you know, East Nashville wasn't as happening as it was now. So
So you were the guy. So you were the guy at that jam that caused all the bass players to stop showing up.
well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good bass players that
Yeah.
in that town. Man, it's an abundance of riches in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's what really drew me there. I mean, it's just there's just so many incredible players all the time, and that level of talent and craftsmanship for the art and the music really pushes you to be the best you can be all the time, I think. And that's what's so special about Nashville, Tennessee.
So you hooked up with, I'm not sure if my timeline is all straight, but you hooked up with Town Mountain eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
And was it with Town Mountain that you sort of found yourself playing the most routinely and before the sort of biggest audiences?
I had, you know, played with a lot of other artists out doing big rooms and stuff like that. Some folk artists like Susan Warner, if you know who she is. I toured with her for a while. So I was fortunate that I'd, you know, been playing. I was in a band called the Deadly Gentlemen for a minute too, that was on Rounder Records.
Uh-huh.
That's what kind of led to me connections to Town Mountain. And you know, we did a lot of cool festivals and played some big rooms. So I've been pretty lucky to play for a lot of people, you know, throughout this whole career I've had in one way or fashion or another. But Town Mountain was definitely the first real band experience I've felt. Like, just like that band is such a brotherhood, and was really one of the best parts, being a part of that. And you know, having the bass role in that band too was just so crucial and fundamental, and really made me want to, you know, push on to what I'm doing now.
So when you think about, so is it hard for you to imagine where you are now without having had that experience of working with those guys and traveling with those guys and sort of the
Maybe
rigor of
how
road?
it is particularly, yeah. I mean, I definitely definitely learned a lot about the road, like in that era, you know.
Yeah, what'd you learn?
Lots of things. Some things maybe we can talk about off air. But no.
How about the PG version of what you learned?
Yeah,
For
well,
your,
you know,
for your
just-
music career and your
No,
musical.
I mean it was just, you know, just like anything, doing any gig, and I was lucky. You know, this whole time I've been also a session player in Nashville, working with different projects and different bands and different producers. So I would be in town doing that a lot of the time, and that's when I really started writing a lot more and co-writing as a part of that band. So being in that band, it was like on the weekends we were out gigging, and the rest of the time during the week I was in Nashville, you know, doing Nashville stuff. And it was really cool to have that kind of balance. But inevitably it was like, you know, I live in Nashville, and you know, the burning desire to make the record that I made, which we started making the whole time I was kind of in Town Mountain, was, you know, was inevitable to me to happen.
You mean some things won't last? Was
Yeah.
something that really kind of has its roots in your time with Town Mountain?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't.
Or that's you were working.
I was
on
working on it. Yeah, that
concurrently.
record took a couple years to make, in and out, and working with different people. And you know, when you're just starting out, you know, you can sound like anything, right? And I just wanted to experiment all these things and sounds that I've always loved, and wanted to expand upon and try to create my stamp of music.
Cool. Well, why don't we stop there? We'll pick up on that when we
Yeah.
get back together in a little bit. Folks, we've got Adam Chaffins on the stage with us tonight. He's joined by Cy Winstanley, and you're listening to Red Barn Radio. Let's get back to some music.
Thank you, all. I'm gonna play another brand new song for you. Wrote this song the last little bit with my wife, actually, Britt Taylor, and a friend of ours, Adam Landry. And I think this song kind of came from the last year we've had, and it felt like everyone was having a hard time, and it's still that way. But every now and then you get to do something cool. You get to go to a restaurant and eat a nice meal, or you know, get to talk to a friend. And there's little things that make you feel good, and it's important to remember that the whole purpose of all of this is to feel good, right? And that's what this song's about. I'm feeling good today. All my worries went away. I'm standing on a cliff looking over the sea. Life's been good to me. I'm feeling good today. Big old grin on my face. Tomorrow might be singing me a different tune, but today I got nothing to lose. Lucky me, lucky you, luckiest duck in the pond. Took a swing, knocked it clear to the moon. It's going, going, it's gone. I'm feeling good today. Looks like I caught me a break. No need to worry, I ain't in a hurry. I'm just happy to be. Lucky me, lucky you, luckiest duck in the pond. Took a swing, knocked it clear to the moon. It's going, going, it's gone. Lucky me, lucky you, luckiest duck in the pond. Took a swing, knocked it clear to the moon. It's going, going, it's gone. I'm holding my own ground. No, this world can't bring me down. Yeah, there ain't nothing that they can do or say, 'cause I'm feeling good today. And I'm feeling good today. Speaking of Keith Whitley, this is one I learned from him. Things ain't always Things ain't always what they seem. You can't believe everything you read. On my face, I'm over you. Just 'cause there's clouds don't mean there's rain. Tears in my eyes don't mean there's pain. Don't flatter yourself, I'm over you. Heard I'm drinking more than I should, and I ain't been looking all that good. Someone told you I was taking it rough, while they're making those stories up, when I'm over you. There were times that if you'd been around, you would have seen me broken down, but now you won't. I'm over you. So if I seem a little bit cold, it only means that you lost the hold you had on me. I'm over you. Heard I'm drinking more than I should. I ain't been looking all that good. Someone told you I was taking it rough, why they making those stories up, when I'm over you. I'm drinking more than I should. I ain't been looking all that good. Someone told you I was taking it rough, why they making those stories up, when I'm over you. I'm over you. Oh, I'm over you. Ooh, I'm over you. Thank you. Well, it is my privilege to introduce Mr. Cy Winstanley. We've known each other for quite a while now, and he's just started releasing music of his own. And this next song we're going to play actually came out this past Friday.
Yes, it did. Yes, Adam was one of the first people that I met when I moved to Nashville. I came to some jam. I'm from New Zealand originally, and came in off the plane and went to this jam after 30 hours of flying, and Adam was there just shredding on the bass. And I always say he's like a mama bird to me, like he's the first thing that I saw. So, but this song is at the beginning of the pandemic, my girlfriend and I ate so many frozen dumplings. You know those dumplings that you get from like Trader Joe's or whatever, and yeah, pot stickers, so good. So we ate so many of them, and I wrote this song called "She Had the Dumplings," kind of about all those things that we couldn't have in the beginning of the pandemic. Not food things, but more musical and experiential kind of things. Yeah, it's called "She Had the Dumplings" or the COVID Blues. 2, 3, 4. She had the dumplings, I had the wonton soup. She had the chow mein, and a pork chop too. We had the green beans, and man, when we got through, I felt so good eating out the way we used to do. But that was just a dream, my friend, and that was just a dream. 'Cause there ain't no chance of eating out when you got to stay in. 'Cause you're stuck at home with the COVID blues, and it's Friday night again. Oh darling, there ain't much to do but dream. She wore hot pants, I wore my white jumpsuit. We took the subway down to the avenue. We did the Dougie, and we danced the soles off of our shoes. I felt so good stepping out the way we used to do. But that was just a dream, my friend, that was just a dream. 'Cause there ain't no chance in stepping out when you got to stay in. 'Cause you're stuck at home with the COVID blues, and it's Friday night again. Oh darling, there ain't much to do but dream. All right, Anna. Saxophone and a guy on keys, 2 backup singing girls are banging on a tambourine. I felt the room shake and it set my spirit free. Oh, it felt so good just being out the way it used to be. But that was just a dream, my friend, that was just a dream. 'Cause there ain't no chance in being out when you got to stay in. 'Cause you're stuck at home with the COVID blues, and it's Friday night again. Oh darling, there ain't much to do but dream. Oh darling, all we got to do is dream. That's the dumplings.
Hey, before we get back to more music with Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley, I got to tell you something. Next week on Red Barn Radio, we feature from Sheridan, Wyoming, the 2 Tracks. Who are the Two Tracks, you say? Well, a fistful of years ago, Julie Chaffins and David Huebner met in the Bighorn Mountains of Wyoming with one thing in common, one central thing anyway, a love of all kinds of music and a thirst for making music, along with Fernando Serna, who plays drums and percussion, and Taylor Phillips, who plays bass. They've all knit their passions into a musical family, which is now called the Two Tracks. Their newest release, Cheers to Solitude, is produced by Will Kimbrough, who has also worked in the studio with the likes of Rodney Crowell, Josh Rouse, and Todd Snyder. Cheers to Solitude garnered rave reviews from No Depression, Glide, and Relics magazines. The Two Tracks' self-titled 2016 debut album was voted Wyoming's best album by Wyoming Public Radio. So you got to join us for a great program of music next week with the Two Tracks. We're real high on these guys, and they're going to be with us next week on Red Barn Radio. So now let's get back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We come to you live on our social media platforms, broadcasting here from the Arts Place Performance Hall in the grand city of Lexington, Kentucky. Please welcome back Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley to the Red Barn stage.
So I want you to do us another one here.
I'll do it. All right, this song is called One More Trick in the Box, and this is my... I love the music of Whitney Houston. The first date that I ever went on was to see The Bodyguard when that came out, so I wanted to write a Whitney Houston...
I thought you were going to say your first date was with Whitney Houston. That's awesome.
I mean, one can only dream. Yeah, this is my homage to Whitney Houston, and I was looking it up, and Whitney Houston actually did come through Kentucky sometime in the 90s, and the only thing that I could find is that she got in a fight with 3 men at a hotel in Lexington. So Whitney Houston roughed up 3 dudes in a hotel around the corner.
I still feel that.
Yeah, that was you? The song's called One More Trick in the Box. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've been fooling for a long time. Ripe fruit on a high vine. I'm reaching for you. People say I should quit, but they don't know how we fit when you try me on. So I bide my time, I run my lines, I wait my turn. But you're pulling me along like a habit, girl. All the ways I try to make you mine are never right. And I'm down to the bottom. I'm down to the bottom, but I got one more trick in the box, and I'm trying it on you. And I got one more trick in the box, and I'm trying it on you. The signals that you're sending, and good love never ending, you know that it's true. So baby, why we stalling? Can't you hear our love? It's a calling you. Ooh, I got one more trick in the box, I'm trying it on you. And I got one more trick in the box, and I'm trying it on you. And I've waited for an open door for long enough. It's time to throw down, or it's time to bust. So I'm gonna use the only trick I'm clinging to. I'm gonna tell you that I love tell you that I love you, and that's my one last trick in the box, and I'm trying it on you. That's my one last trick in the box. My one last trick in the box. Oh, it's my one last trick in the box, and I'm trying it on you.
Cy Winstanley, y'all.
Thank you.
Go check him out on all the places.
All
the places.
Yeah.
You can find him anywhere. Not just Lexington, Kentucky. I'm gonna play a song here. The title of my record that came out last year is "Some Things Won't Last," and there's a line from this song, and that provides the title to that record.
I never put that together.
It's there.
Genius. Genius.
This one's called "Who I Am."
All right.
1, 2. By the dark in that room that you won't walk in, the cold in the river you're too scared to swim, and by the storm in the sky you're afraid to fly through, the fire and the touch you think will burn you, not the glass in your mirror reflecting the past. I didn't leave you to wonder why some things won't last, but I'll be here. I'll be here. By the walls in this place that keep closing in, worried how it might end, and by the race you keep running with no end in sight, the wrong end of reason you're too weak to fight, not the dirt in your nails from the days you cling to. I didn't give you those scars from the war you went through, but I'll be here. I'll be here. I'm the one who decided to let fear take hold. I didn't promise tomorrow and then let you go. I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be here when you figure out who I am. When you figure out who I am. When you figure out who I am. Who I am. All right. We'll play another new song for you now. Like we were talking about earlier, I made what I think was a really good decision and got hitched a few weeks ago. And it's nice to find that person that you just want to do everything with. And it was when I did that, was like, you know what, this is a good idea to make it official. And I was lucky to find that. And I'd be lying if I said that this song wasn't inspired by that a little bit. Let me get the right capo on. Tune a little bit more. I wrote this song with a good friend of mine, a guy named Brian Simpson. You ever have Cadillac Sky on the show? He was a member of that band. He does his own things now. He's written a whole bunch of big songs for big people.
Sounds like we should have.
You should have Brian on. Go look up Brian Simpson. Brian with a Y. Anyhow, him and I get together and it can get goofy. Wherever you go, I go. Wherever you go, I go. Yeah, we're two of a kind, and we know every line like a song on the radio. We could get lucky in Kentucky, or twisted up down in Tennessee. You be the baddest mamma jamma in the state of Alabama, and the queen of the muddy Mississippi. Yeah, hit the squeeze box all night, Louisiana moonlight, bayou down in Baton Rouge. Hey, hey, baby, baby, if it drives you crazy, then it drives me crazy too. Wherever you go, I go. Wherever you go, I go. Yeah, we're two of a kind, and we know every line like a song on the radio. You could be my Kansas City kitty. I could be your loyal, loving Georgia hound. We do the okey hokey pokey, get some Rocky Mountain smoky. In the Arizona sun we get down. Yeah, if Malibu it won't do, jump on in the ocean blue, swim on out to Waikiki. Hey, hey, baby, baby, ain't no way to shake me. I'm a tumbleweed in your jet stream. Wherever you go, I go. Wherever you go, I go. Yeah, we're two of a kind, and we know every line like a song on the radio. Yeah. Milwaukee's best yet, West Virginia redneck, Sin City roulette. Baby, you're my show bet. I learned a Texas two-step. Tijuana hit it next wherever your head's at. I'm there too. Wherever you go, I go. Wherever you go, I go. Yeah, we're two of a kind, and we know every line like a song on the radio. Wherever you go, I go. You go, I go. Wherever you go, I go. We'll go through thick and thin, stick our hands in the wind when we roll down the windows. Yeah, wherever you go, I go. You go, I go. Yeah, we don't even have to say so. I'll be right there with you, baby. Ain't no ifs or buts or maybes. I'll go anywhere that you go. Yeah, we can see the seven wonders, never even leave the covers if you just want to stay home. Wherever you go, I go. You go, I go. You go, I go.
Hey, Adam Chaffins is our guest on Red Barn Radio this evening. He's here with his friend Cy Winstanley, who's playing guitar and singing vocals. Adam has an album released in 2020 called Some Things Won't Last. And he wasn't referring to COVID or the variant evidently with that title. He has been performing, excuse me, he's been performing several songs from that album. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at least, and maybe even a seventh as the show goes on. But
Yeah.
if you like these tunes, pardon me, you got to go and check out this album. What you're seeing this evening on Red Barn Radio is actually Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley kind of stripping down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
so
stripped down.
maybe you didn't plan on a strip show, but that's what we got going on here tonight on Red Barn Radio.
It's much fun as you can have with your clothes on.
That's
That's
right.
what we're doing here this evening.
So these renderings of these tunes are really delightful. I mean, I'm really enjoying hearing them
Thank
pared
you,
down.
man.
But I loved the CD and all that you've got going on in that. And it kind of doesn't surprise me that that your friend Ethan Ballinger was in some ways involved in
Yeah.
that. Ethan was here with you when
That's
you
right.
came on here last with Britt.
Right.
He seems like not like a guy who has a lot of tolerance for sort of market formula.
Yeah.
He seems like a cool cat with a real deep guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely so.
What can you get us inside some of your early conversations with Ethan when you talked about sort of collaborating on a record?
Man, I really owe a lot to that guy. He's one of my favorite musicians on the planet. I earliest years in Nashville, we both come from bluegrass and the big bluegrass background. He grew up playing with a family band, and he's a ridiculous mandolin player. He was the first mandolin major at Belmont University. He convinced them to let him, take lessons elsewhere and go to Belmont. And so we always had this connection. I had some early bluegrass bands and more acoustic-driven bands, and I always just wanted a situation where I could work with him, and it never worked out because he's always in demand. And one time I actually we were just picking songs at my house, and I'll never. He was just sitting in a chair, and he looked at me. He was like, "We should make a record of your songs." And I was like, "I'd love to do that." He was like, "Yeah, let me make some phone calls." And and that kind of started the whole thing, and that led us to Brandon Bell at Southern Ground, what was Southern Ground Nashville Studios, and Brandon was a co-producer with me on that record as well, and engineered and recorded pretty much all of it and mixed it. And Brandon really added a lot of sonic flair and things that me and Ethan could really only imagine. And some things I would have never imagined had I never worked with that crew, for certain. So it really just kind of happened like that.
Was there any point where you felt like, hey, wait a minute, you guys are getting away from my vision?
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time. But it was cool. I mean, I think we really were able to compromise a lot, and I really am proud of what came out. And I really think, for me, it was there's a lot of things maybe I tried not to do on that record that I wouldn't try to do in the future. But
I'm not sure if I followed that. Sounds like a double negative in there.
yeah, well, there's just some things maybe you try to put rules against yourself. They're like, well, there's no parameters except for these, and I think that was one of it. And a big part of it was making something that was like, as a country person, it's like that should come across in the songs and how I deliver them, more than just having fiddle and steel on everything and making it more that thing. Not that I don't love that thing, but that record was definitely more thought about, and how do we hear these songs, and what's the full potential we could make for them individually, instead of like one. It's like they'll fit together if we just put our best effort forward to each individual song, and that's really what we did with the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I'm really proud of you too, if that doesn't sound patronizing. I mean,
No.
for the great work. I mean, it's just the album. Each song really does stand well on its own. There's just tons of surprises, sonic surprises and rhythmic surprises, and it's just a real pleasure to. I know I'm going to listen to that album over and over again.
Oh man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you spreading the word on it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you.
So you co-wrote a great song, "Who I Am," on your Some Things Won't Last album with Jerry Salley.
Yes.
Who our sort of liner reading listeners will recognize as the monster of a songwriter. He wrote with Reba and John Anderson, or wrote for Reba, John Anderson, Chris Stapleton, Toby Keith, blah, blah, blah. How is it that you guys got to know one another? And I'm really interested in you telling these stories, because, we hear about these stories about collaborations going on. It's like, we were just hanging out.
Well, Jerry it was actually interesting how we met. We actually ended up sitting beside each other at a dinner. Back in 2012 or 13, I wrote a song on a record for a band, the infamous String Dusters, and won an award for that song with CSAC, a company I've worked with in Nashville for a long time.
Oh, come on, way to go.
And so it was, the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And here I was sitting at this table, and I sat right beside Jerry, and our representative, CSAC, was introduced as, and we had a nice evening. And then I guess a month or so later, we ended up, it was one of the first real, I had co-written, but I'd never done a lot of Music Row kind of thing, and I'd always been a little like around the shield of it and never really knew how to accept it or be a part of it. And Jerry was really the first one. That was one of the first writes I ever had. Might have been the first real Music Row write, was that song. And it took us a couple times to get it, because that,
Well, can you remember something
well,
about the process?
I just know, Jerry's just so good at organizing, and I had the whole thing of that song, and he was really good to help me kind of organize what I really wanted to say with it. And I just learned a lot. You learn so much. That's the thing about co-writing, and why a lot of artists are just so against it. And I wrote pretty much every song else on that record was a solo write, but co-writing is it's just, that's how you learn. It really is. And if you want to get better at it, write with people who are better at it than you, and hopefully you pick something up.
Huh. So, what did you learn about you referenced his organization. What did you learn specifically
well, it's
about
just
his
those,
practices?
Those guys just know what people want to hear when they hear a song and how it flows, and I think it was more that, not to be too specific, I suppose, but like I said, it's just you get with people like that who know how songs can go, and also Jerry's is great to be really he listens to what you have to say, and lets you kind of do the thing, and it's like, well, what about this? And at that time I'd never really written with anyone who I felt that comfortable with opening up like that, especially on a song like that one. And it was really easy with Jerry, I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, so is that tell me about that song.
Well, I mean,
lyrically.
That song is comes from a deep place, I suppose, getting hurt, and that's kind of, I'm a sucker for torch songs, songs about just the ever lingering of someone and never letting go, and I think that's what that song is. I wanted a song on the record. We did a version of I'm Over You, Keith Whitley's I'm Over You on the record, and I really wanted something to pair with that, like something, what would Keith Whitley, I want to write a song that Keith might sing, and I don't know if he'd sing that, but I'd love to have heard him sing it for sure.
So you want to do a combination of things. You want to do kind of you want to do a Nashville path, sort of, I guess what I would consider a Nashville path, learning more about writing the kind of material that people want to hear.
Yeah.
Or, sort of tapping some of that, those central themes and rhythms and ideas that make country music so popular.
Exactly.
I
think everyone wants their music to be heard. I think you want. I think that's why you do it. You want something that can resonate with people and really connect. And I think, it's for me, learning as much as I possibly can about anything makes me better at doing whatever it is. And the same principle with music, you know, it's just, I'm still learning and trying to get better and better every day I do it. I don't, you know, consider I've got to any stopping point.
Yeah. Well, I like the tune that you just did, You Go, I Go.
Thank you.
That's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That
man.
strikes me as a tune that, you know, people would listen to and go, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna people are gonna listen to that and go, I remember those lyrics.
Yeah,
and
man.
that's just a cool thing. Your album on the other hand, it's like it's so rich and deep and beautiful, but it's a different kind of experience than listening
Yeah.
to an album of songs like You Go, I Go.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, I never wanted to do the same thing twice. And I'd like to think that everything I do is, from here on out, is just one step to the next. And who knows where it goes, but I never want to just sleep in the same sonic bed all the time, as it were.
Well, I love that, and that's
Yeah.
why we're going to continue to see you and enjoy watching what you do year after year.
Man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's been so great to have you guys with us. Cy Winstanley, we didn't talk a whole lot. You did tell us a little bit about yourself, and you've been here for how long now?
Almost 8 years in the
And-
United States.
And were you always bound for Nashville?
Yeah, I came over. I've got a band called Tattletale Saints,
Yeah.
and we recorded an album that Tim O'Brien, the bluegrass mandolin player, dude,
fiddler, everything player.
produced. So we spoke to him when we were in New Zealand, and he said, "Why don't you come over to Nashville and record?" So we came over for that, really, and we were here for a month, and we met some amazing people, and it just seemed like a solid musical life choice, really. So many cool people, such a cool scene, and so went back to New Zealand, got our visas and all that stuff, and then came on over.
Wow! And did Tim play on?
Tim
did
played-
also play on the album.
Yes, he did. He played not copious amounts, but he played on a few songs. Played mandolin on a couple songs, a fiddle on one song, and just kind of put his ear and his great sensibilities to it, and just kind of got us in the door of, you know, we being my old-time friend Vanessa McGowan and myself had played a lot of music. She's an upright bass player from New Zealand, but we'd never really toured or did it on such a original music on a professional level before, because it's just so small over there. So he kind of just got us in the door and showed us what it was like to live in that realm, and and it's been awesome.
Wow!
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
And he
Well-
sponsored me for my visa as well, so he's like really crucial in my existence.
Like your
Tim
daddy.
is. He's my second father. Yes. No, he's
Yeah,
not.
wow, that's pretty neat. Well, he's a cool character,
He really is. He's
and
awesome.
and what an amazing talent. Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley, thank you so much for coming and being with us on Red Barn Radio. Thankfully, though, we're not saying goodbye. There's more music to come here on Red Barn. Welcome back, Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley to Red Barn Radio.
Thank you all. Thank you. So good to be here. We got a few more songs for you. This next one was on is the last track on Some Things Won't Last, and you know, within a week or so of putting the record out, this violent storm hit our hometown in Nashville, Tennessee, and it was really a surreal experience to kind of drive around that next day in the carnage that your neighbors were experiencing. And then we were slammed with COVID-19 not long after that. And it was a real 1-2 punch. And it really kind of was a weird feeling putting out a record and having so much attachment to it and ready to share it with the world. And it just seemed like a time to just stop and really observe more than anything else, and try to be a part and to help what was happening more than anything. And this song is probably one of the oldest songs I have. This song dates almost a decade ago now, and it's so crazy how it's morphed and been with me this whole time. And I felt like we did an acoustic version of it, which came out in the summer of 2020, and you know, a music video that came with it that got some attention, and it was just, you know, I just put it out because it felt like a right thing to do. Some friends had just built a recording studio, Brandon Bell, And this was the first song ever recorded in that place, a place called The Cabin. It's in East Nashville, Tennessee, and everyone, Miranda Lambert's been tracking there. You know, it's like it's become a really cool spot, and this is the very first noise that was ever created in there, was creating the acoustic version of this song that I was lucky to sing with my now wife, Britt Taylor, so you can check that out there, and the video with that and all that stuff. But this is Further Away. Ooh, 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 ooh. You can find me waiting by the edge of my mind, just a short leap from tomorrow and what I've left behind. I thought I would remember everything I'd been told. I drank the water to keep me younger, but the days that made me old. Further away, further away. I wish I were further, wish I were further, wish I were further away. Ooh, 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 ooh. I pushed to the point, I pushed it was hell-bound, found out it was fake, false heart and everything. I just kept running, running and running, running, and I fell right back. I hadn't changed. Further away, further away. I wish I were further, wish I were further, wish I were further away. No need to worry, but I don't think I'll stay. It's just tomorrow and then forever, and we'll slowly slip away. Further away. I wish I were further, wish I were further, wish I were further. Please take me further. I wish I were further. Ooh, 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 ooh.
About the top of my range right there, that high note, tell ya.
You know,
It's about to bust something, man.
I think you sound like you had plenty of room up there, Si. Yeah, man. Like you were saying, these are stripped down versions of these songs, and I think it's fun to do that, and it's fun to bring it bring it here to Red Barn and do this too, because I know how much this audience appreciates a real song and a real story. And it's fun to do this. I really appreciate the opportunity. And this next song is real stripped down, I would say. It's another one from Some Things Won't Last. It's called I Might Be Wrong. I couldn't tell the things she knew I hadn't meant. Self-medicating my own back that she had been. And though to her defense I would admit I couldn't understand, it might be me. There were minutes in the hours worth away. I thought for sure I saw that love stayed open late. Between the lines of a written note she left that said I probably shouldn't call. And I might be wrong. Oh, I might be wrong. Well, she's a good woman. Oh, but I'm just a man. Short on fingers and directions which to point. Pinched every nerve just like the way she'd hold a joint. Tried lighting it again, but in the end we were just fumbling through stems and seeds. And it's crazy, it's just crazy, and I'm crazy. I can't help but hold on. And yesterday's just the only thing that's gone. And in the bottom of my chest I'll leave the mess while she straightens up the rest of me. And I might be wrong. Oh, I might be wrong. Well, she's a good woman. I'm just a man. Take the ribbons from your hair, shake it loose and let it fall. Lay it soft against my skin, like the shadows on the wall. Go and lay down by my side till the early morning light. All I'm taking is your time. Help me make it through the night. I don't care what's right or wrong. I don't try and understand. Let the devil take tomorrow, 'cause tonight I need a friend. Well, yesterday she's a dead dead and gone. And tomorrow's out of sight. And I'm scared to be alone. Help me make it through the night. Try and understand. Let the devil take tomorrow, 'cause tonight I need a friend. Going less days are dead and gone. Yeah, tomorrow's out of sight. I'm scared to be alone. Help me make it through the night. Yes, I'm scared to be alone. Help me make it through the night.
Wow.
Thank you all.
Wow. So many people to thank for our program. First, Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley, our guests this evening. And then there's our volunteers and our staff who make our production happen so beautifully and sometimes even flawlessly each and every week. Thank you for listening to our webcast, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and those listening to us on the network of Red Barn stations and media worldwide. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn's premier radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU. And those of you here in the Central Kentucky area, you got to be sure to check out Red Barn TV. It's our weekly program of music, now on ABC 36 WTVQ. Incidentally, every like, comment, share, and subscription from you helps bring roots music Southern style to your neck of the woods. Red Barn Radio supports live music, and if any of our featured artists are performing in your area, you got to make it a point to get out and hear them. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Our website has updates and further information on our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. And now let's get back to one more tune with Adam Chaffins and Cy Winstanley on the Red Barn stage.
Thank you all so much. So good to be here. Thank you, Cy. Thank you all for having us. This is the last single I put out there. This is one called Now I Don't Know. Open up the window, listen to the train. The same old clouds, they bring the same old rain. I thought I hit the bottom, and then I found a new low. Oh, I used to think you loved me, but now I don't know. I had a half a bottle, now it's just about gone. If I had a half of mine, I'd left you alone. I guess I'm gonna see nowhere else to go. Oh, I used to think you loved me, but now I don't know. I used to think that heaven was looking in your eyes.
the middle of the day.
It's hard to tell the difference
Makes no difference.
since you went away.
Oh, you went away.
I tried to plant a garden, but you wouldn't let it grow. Boy, I used to think you loved me. Now I don't know. I used to think that heaven was looking in your eyes. Now I'm staring at the devil, wearing a disguise. If you're trying to kill me, then why you doing it slow? Oh, I used to think you loved me, but now I don't know. Oh, I used to think you loved me, but now I don't know. Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Woo! Well, that's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide as we stream live on the web on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America, and archive performances on Spotify, iTunes, and video on the Red Barn Radio YouTube channel. Be sure to check out our social media for updates to our upcoming schedules and more information on the program. And now, though, from all of us here at Red Barn Radio to all of our friends worldwide, it's our hope that you have a great week. Let's keep working together to be safe and healthy. And until next time, good night from Red Barn Radio.